So for this example, I'm going to look at an activity for a film writing course. The learning outcome I'll be looking at is around applying film genres when writing for film. I'm going to get them to achieve this learning outcome by actually writing in one or more genres. And to do that, I'll use an activity pattern that we call practice a technique, or sometimes I call it practice a style. So I'll get it going, and then I'll explain a bit more about it. So the pattern I'll be using is this one here, practice a technique. And so the techniques or styles I want them to explore is film genres, and what the learners will be creating are short film scripts. And then of the learning outcomes, the relevant one is this one here, the genre one. So I'll get that going. Okay, so it's thinking. So the practice a technique or practice a style activity pattern is really a fun activity pattern that can be great in courses on creative pursuits or any areas where there's a craft involved, like film writing here, or perhaps interior design or other kinds of writing. But that's not to say it can't also be used in technical contexts. I've tried it out in courses on programming, for example. The basis for the activity pattern is to try out different techniques or styles. What that means exactly will depend on the context that you give to the assistant. But for example, here that means trying out different film genres. So you give the assistant a set of styles to try out. So in my case, that was film genres. And then you specify what thing or artifact the students will be creating while they try those styles out. In my case, that's a short film script. So let me just go ahead and keep what it's come up with here, and I'll trust that it's great. So long story short, they're going to try to apply different film genres in their writing by writing some short film scripts in those genres. But there's a bit more to it than that, so let's look at some of the detail. So it's given them some instructions here, but basically what we've got here is that to start with, each student is assigned a specific film genre. So for example, this student has been assigned drama. Because film genre is what we specified to the assistant as the technique or style we wanted them to practice. So it's come up with a few different ones, and each student's assigned a random film genre. Now, to start with, they aren't going to write a script in that genre. So this student's been assigned drama, but they aren't necessarily going to write a short film script in drama. They're just going to research it for now. The key to film genres is the genre conventions and tropes that define that genre. So each student first goes away and finds something about the genre that they were assigned and shares it with the class. So they'll do that here, and they'll share their findings, and they'll pop up down here. Then each student is assigned a particular writing prompt for a short film script, because we specified that a short film script is the thing we wanted them to use to practice with. So this student, for example, has been assigned the prompt, write a script with a non-linear narrative. Okay, so now armed with the information that they collected about their genre, but also the information that other students have collected about other genres, the student now picks a genre and responds to the writing prompt they were assigned in that genre. So this student might choose drama based on the findings they had, but they might also choose, say, horror, because other students have found out some information about the horror genre and write that. And so then they'll respond to the writing prompt, create a short film script and share it here. And then finally, in this pattern, they're encouraged to give feedback to each other around the learning outcomes. So how well did they adhere to the genre conventions? Did they subvert them in any way? And that sort of thing. So that's the sort of basis with this activity pattern. But as I did with my other examples, at this point, I might wonder, is there anything else I can give to the class to help them on this assignment? I don't want to actually respond to one of the writing prompts for them, but I might give them some guidance on talking about the film genre conventions. So in this case, I'm going to use a really general content template. In fact, it's just called general text. So I'm going to bring in a text widget just beneath where they've been assigned their own film genre, and I will go to the different templates and use this one here, general text. And for this content generator, you basically want to describe what sort of content you want to generate. Well, I came up earlier with some instructions that I will just paste in here. Describe the genre conventions relating to the action comedy film genre and give some examples. So I basically telling the assistant to basically come up with some content, some general content that relates to this prompt. So I'll get it going. And so it's going to do that here. So it's going to respond to that request and put it here underneath where the students were assigned their own film genre. So this content generator template, it's very general, as the name suggests, and you'd be forgiven for feeling a little bit like you're talking directly to ChatGPT when you use it. And we do leverage the GPT large language model in our AI assistant. But as with all of our patterns and templates, we've fine-tuned it. So even in a general template like this, we've trained the assistant to take the audience into account, take the course into account, the course objective into account, the learning outcomes, and so on. But in this case, I've used it to simply give the class some information about the action comedy film genre, which is what the generator is generating now. So when it does this, it's basically going to give them, like I asked, some of the genre conventions relating to the action comedy film genre, and hopefully some examples, because I did ask it to give some examples. So that way, when they go ahead and actually complete the step one of their own activity, where they've been assigned their own genre, they might have a bit of a template to go on. So let's come up with something. So I'll just keep and insert that and save it. And then let's see what it's actually come up with here. Okay, so so it's basically given a bit of a description of what action comedy is, and then it's come up with 4 different conventions: a relatable, humorous protagonist, high stakes action, comedic subplots and supporting characters, and unexpected twists and turns. Which are 4 genre conventions related to the action comedy genre, and it has given within each one an example. So, for example, for a related humorous protagonist, we've got Beverly Hills Cop. Axel Foley is a relatable humorous protagonist, so that's an example. We've got Deadpool, Men in Black, and the other guys. So it's given a bit of information here. And again, this has been inserted in amongst the activity. Now, I could have taken really a very different approach here because I used a very general content generator, the general text. Instead of giving them an example or being action comedy, I could have got the content generator to, for example, generate content to speak way more broadly, like, for example, describe what a film genre even is, or what film genre conventions even refer to. In this case, I didn't. In this case, I thought, well, I'll give them an example because, again, it relates to the greater activity pattern. They've been assigned their own genre, and they're going to be going away and researching it and talking about the conventions of that genre. So I've given them a bit of a template to go on here. So now when they go away and actually complete the second part of the activity, the really creative part, they will be able to use a blank canvas to respond to their prompt, but they've got some information and some guidance to go on with the genre conventions that other students have researched, but also now we've given them an example.